In this clip, you will see what exercises you need to do with your puppy starting from 4 months of age. In the previous series, I told about the crisis of dog dependence on the person about the age of 4.5 months. The main objective of educational training before 4 months of age is the preparation for the crisis of dog dependence on the person. The first thing trained to the dog is the set of commands: sit, bark, shake. Sometimes people teach the command down. This is wrong because at this point the fundamental error is being made. That is, you train your puppy specific commands instead of developing its willingness and ability to learn. This willingness to learning is determined by more common characteristics. Main positive motivations which are used in dog training are food motivation and winning motivation. Exactly these positive motivations should be developed. It is important to understand that the psychological need, for example, hunger and motivation, food motivation, are not just the same. Motivation is determination of the need on a specific object or concrete action. A hungry dog looks for food everywhere. The dog with good food motivation searches for food in a person or waits for it from the person. Here we have a Labrador puppy. It is ready to eat food. Even sometimes it can follow the hand, but it is constantly distracted, thus jumps off the hand. Once the puppy eats or even takes food from the hand of the master, it is immediately distracted from the master, thus switches attention to external stimuli. It is falsehood to think that it is enough not to feed the dog and now it is ready for training. Sometimes it is true, but very often before training it is necessary to develop food motivation. The best way to develop such motivation is to do this when your pet is still a puppy, not an adult form. The first and most basic exercise is just the movement after a hand with food. You should strive for easy ruling and manipulating the dog in space, give it different positions, and stimulate different types of movements. These various manipulations with the dog segue in exercises close to the regulatory normative training. We command the dog to sit, lie, stand, and go close by. It is important to understand that this is the preliminary development of the dog. You learn to rule your puppy, and the puppy learns to understand what it should do in response to your manipulations. The most common mistake at this stage is an attempt to link actions of a puppy with a command. Until you have not started to add commands in these warm-up exercises, you simply entertain yourself and your puppy. Learn to analyze your actions. Look what actions lead to what movements of the puppy. After you add voice command into this process, two unpleasant things take place. First, verbal communication blocks your attention to your own actions and in general to all factors which affect behavior of the puppy. In our modern world, for many people, conversation is work already. So as soon as the never was a puppy performed the command several times, the person makes a diagnosis that the dog knows this command. If the dog doesn't perform this command, so it mocks or shows its dominance, or it's stubborn, or it doesn't like to roll over for people, or the dog needs to understand what the person wants from it. Without understanding, dogs of this breed cannot work. These senseless fantasies transform all further work on completely wrong rails on a completely wrong way. The second trouble that awaits us when trying to connect commands with actions. This means that if we think that the dog performs the voice command, we must ensure it always performs it. If you let your dog to ignore the command, it is really bad. If you are trying to get the dog to run commands at any cost, that's bad too. Well, if you don't want your dog to ignore commands, then after the dog ran the command, you need to encourage it for performing the next one. Sit, sit, sit. Show the piece to the nose and then command it to sit with this piece. Sit. That's it. Give it. How can you encourage your dog to perform the command if you have developed neither yourself nor your dog and have not developed the dog for its manipulation of the hand with food? Let us give you the mini summary. Regular repetition of exercises dedicated to the development of food motivation blends in exercises actions that later will be connected with commands. In other words, actions which would correspond to the normative exercise. Now I will briefly list exercises based on food motivation which should be done within the first period of educational training. Above all is following the hand with food. There is no limit for improvement, but it is necessary to increase the distance, time, and to complicate the trajectory. With this exercise, it's useful to start any activity connected with training a puppy. This exercise is the basis for teaching a puppy not to jump and bite your hand. It must understand that in order to receive food, it's necessary to actively run after the hand but not to bite it. The first basic exercise, movement after the hand with food, flows smoothly into the second basic exercise, movement after the hand with food and lack of distractions at the touch of another hand. This exercise also has its own development. Touching becomes more intense and sometimes merge into interference, which the puppy should actually overcome, not paying attention to them. In other words, your dog must conceive it as a game, not as prohibition. Leave it. Come. And the third basic puppy exercise is good and proper response to the spurt. Your puppy should not be afraid of spurts. The spurt should concentrate its attention and be associated with positive reinforcement. Here's a little more compact version of the same exercise of reaction on the spurt. It is also permissible and useful to teach a puppy to switch attention in the situation by touching hands. The next topic for exercises with the puppy is the formation of motor stereotypes of normative exercises in muscle memory. Simply put, such guidance of the puppy in the position close by, for food left and right hands, the change of positions sit down stand, and the stop of sitting and laying the puppy, from the movement of a hand with food. Separate matter is a variety of developing exercises including frontal movement and number 8 between your legs. Depending on your preferences and capabilities, there can be more or less exercises. In any case, they can be divided into three categories: basic exercises, developing exercises, and normative exercises. Ask questions, write critical comments if you don't agree with something. We are welcoming. In the next series, we are going to analyze work with winning motivation and the question when you need to connect commands. And if you liked our video, subscribe to our channel for free and like us.